Some say that Shanghai's landlords are quite ingenious, managing to convert even the smallest spaces into rentable rooms at high prices, with demand far exceeding supply. There's a ladder here. You can move it over there, and then you can get in the door. This room is great. The toilet is right by the bed, and I eat here every day too. Wow, where's the room? Isn't this a bathroom? Ha ha ha, the bed's right above here, and even comes with air conditioning. This place costs 600 yuan in rent. A 390 yuan room in Shanghai. Is this bed gonna collapse? The landlord must be worried about you suffocating, so he installed 2 vents. There's Wi-Fi over here, so at least there's internet. In Shanghai, 300 yuan can get you a whole 1-bedroom duplex. The landlord said it's a bedroom with a bathroom. I was shocked when I opened the door. It really is a bathroom with a bedroom inside. After using the toilet, the smell lingers in the room. Also, don't turn the shower head on too high, or it'll soak the bed. Here's the main door. How's this house designed? It's built up in the attic. The landlord's got quite the imagination. A panoramic bathroom. There's even a small balcony for drying clothes. Just watch out for the wasp nest. A blogger visited a house in an old district of central Shanghai where the landlord offered a rental of 1,500 yuan per month. The journey up to the dilapidated wooden stairs led to a so-called room located on a balcony. The female landlord opened a door less than a meter high.
这里睡觉，人家上去了。
睡觉。
对，一直有的。
空调也有。
空调也有的呀，本身就借给人家的呀。
对。
借了，这个人啊，借了7年了。便宜的借的。
对，一个人住还行啊。
绝对行的。
The landlord also mentioned that the tap on the balcony could be used for washing and laundry. The bathroom and kitchen inside are shared with the landlord. The original rent was 1,500 yuan per month, now reduced to 1,200. Ultimately, this coffin room was rented by a delivery worker. Recently, a video went viral online showing a young person in Shanghai who rented a room of just 1 square meter for 50 yuan, which is around $7 US. It's up there, like a loft. Here, isn't this just a drawer? Yeah, it's basically like a cabinet. Ah, so this is your room? Yup, see? I keep my quilt here, and I live right here, and all my personal items. I can't even stretch out my arms. My left arm can only go like this. The room is just over a meter long, and there's a beam above. How do you sleep? This young man demonstrated his sleeping position, jokingly referring to it as the sleeping method used by US Navy SEALs. He also mentioned that he uses public restrooms during the day and resorts to a bottle at night, while washing involves merely wiping down with a wet towel. In reality, this so-called house is merely a closet and is only 0.3 square meters. Some local netizens from Shanghai commented that a closet could not be rented for 50 yuan, the price being at least 120 yuan. The video sparked considerable attention and discussion online, highlighting the distressing constraints of personal living space one can endure. This has prompted not only sympathy for the young man's plight, but also broader discussion about the challenges faced by lower-income individuals living in major cities. However, the narrative soon took a twist as media outlets suggested the young man staged the situation to gain sympathy. State media even criticized him. Reports indicate that this 25-year-old man, recently arrived in Shanghai and jobless, was volunteering at a temple in exchange for free meals. The space he rented, which was meant only for storage as clearly stated by the landlord, was not intended for accommodation, yet he moved in anyway. After settling in, he posted over 20 videos online and began live streaming, earning 600 yuan in donations. Yet these tiny living spaces hidden within the city reveal a stark reality. From the reports in the Chinese media, it's hard to accuse the guy of faking it. They just scold him for daring to live in a closet and, heaven forbid, for sharing his dire circumstances online, stirring public opinion. How his bleak reality clashes with the rosy narrative spun by the Chinese state media. Isn't this just tarnishing the party's shining image? And as for the migrant workers like him, penniless and scraping by, where they can afford to live is hardly a concern that keeps the bureaucrats up at night. Even for the working poor who have jobs, the reality of living conditions in Shanghai is no better than that of the young man. From the peculiar rental spaces transformed by landlords, one can grasp the grim living conditions of the lower-class labor force in large cities. The landlords in Shanghai are something else, huh? This is the weirdest house I've seen in Shanghai this year. You need to lift your legs high to get home, and it's a hassle if you're short. This is a whole bedroom, no bathroom. You have to use a public toilet 100 meters away. This room costs 600 yuan a month. This design's really thoughtful. See, knowing you'd have to squat to cook noodles, they smartly place a toilet right here, complete with a door. Don't bother putting a bed here, just lay down a bamboo mat. Notice the small details, like the 2 round windows they open for you. How considerate. Here's another place for 500 yuan rent, combining living room, bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom all in one. This cardboard bed fits just right. If you find it too hard, they might add a cushion later. Be careful not to step on your bed. There's a simple induction cooker for cooking, but it's a tight squeeze for anyone a bit larger, though there is an exhaust fan. This stove is too far from the toilet. It's inconvenient to cook while you are using the toilet, but when you shower, you can easily stir-fry at the same time. The placement of this toilet is interesting, as if they're afraid people across won't see your backside. But we can sit facing the window, so we can chat with people across. This room doesn't have air conditioning. The landlord said they could add it, but the rent would go up by 200 yuan. I think there's no need. A fan would do nice, since a room is small and it cools down quickly. This window is quite interesting. Let me show you. It's shared with a place across. Very user-friendly. It just depends on who's stronger. This room really feels fulfilling. The landlord said if you don't cook, they could remove the stove and put a bed instead. A netizen commented on the video saying, "No need for air conditioning. Living here chills my heart." This 800 yuan a month room, measuring 3 square meters, barely fits a bed squeezed between 2 walls. Its main advantage being that one cannot fall out while sleeping. Fortunately, it has air conditioning and a private bathroom, and the tenant seems quite satisfied. As China's largest city with a population exceeding 24 million, Shanghai's exorbitant housing prices make owning a home almost impossible for laborers. A standard apartment in the city center costs at least 3,500 yuan in rent, with suburban rates starting at 2,000 yuan, making these coffin rooms or snail houses a relatively more affordable option. This duplex room is priced at 1,000 yuan. The entrance door and staircase are less than half a meter wide, making it a tight squeeze for anyone slightly overweight. The entryway has an open toilet, with a single bed upstairs and, thankfully, an air conditioner. The landlord plans to place a mini fridge next to the bed and even add a small stove at the staircase landing, a testament to the landlord's thoughtful planning. Despite such conditions, for many Shanghai drifters, even such a place is considered a luxury. In Shanghai, there are also groups known as Knights of the Bridge Underpass. In big cities, you can deliver food without renting a place. We found a bridge where several delivery guys and girls live. They don't rent houses, they just live under the bridge. Let me show you around. This guy lives right here. This is his delivery cart. He delivers during the day and comes back to sleep at night. This is the backyard. This is a tent. Let me show you guys. This is our buddy's cart bed with running lights. At night, the lights flash, and there's a haze. Feels a bit like a fairyland. You know what's even more amazing? There's wheels under the bed. Because people often come to chase them away under this bridge, when someone comes, they just push the bed and run. These two guys are discussing some techniques about delivering food. Like this kind of outdoor working life, you can save at least 20,000 a year. You know, renting a place around here costs over 1,000 a month. With the economy in negative growth and more job positions in decline, especially in electronic factories, I believe more people will choose outdoor work. Living under a bridge saves money, but how do you deal with water and electricity? This video blogger has an answer. First, you can use water from public toilets, but this water is only for washing and laundry, not drinking. Drinking water is bought from villagers nearby. Electricity can be sourced from the batteries of delivery e-bikes, which are rented for 300 to 400 a month. You can swap many each day, then connect an inverter to the battery, and you get 220-volt household electricity, and that solves that problem. How about laundry and showers? You could do laundry in a nearby urban village with coin-operated washing machines. For showers, use a basin or bucket to collect water and leave it during the day. It'll be warm by evening, and you could take a hot shower when you return. The blogger, a Shanghai drifter, makes his living by creating short videos. Instead of living under a bridge, he resides in his van equipped with a solar panel, which offers him more convenience. Indeed, it's not just Shanghai. Nearly all major Chinese cities host these workers, often labeled as a low-end population. These include delivery workers, rideshare drivers, factory or construction site laborers, or college students from out of town working odd jobs. They hustle in every corner of the city, typically working over 10 hours a day without a single day off. The city's prosperity doesn't touch them. Their daily focus is simply on earning more money. Many have sick parents in rural areas who need financial support, or children waiting for school fees back home, or they aspire to provide better milk powder for their young children. Overwhelmed by these pressures, they scarcely have time to think about their own lives, feeling grateful for any place to sleep. In Beijing, the rental situation seems a bit better than in Shanghai. For example, a shared room for 800 yuan per month appears more livable than the coffin-sized accommodations in Shanghai. However, Beijing's capsule apartments offer no respite either. A tiny suite within a hutong, or alley, in Beijing's second ring area, under 5 square meters, is divided into 2 levels. Bed above and a kitchen living area, complete with a mini bathroom below. Look, this is the cramped living in Beijing. This apartment is located on the edge of Beijing's third ring and is 3 square meters. A compact loft under 6 square meters comes fully equipped with a kitchen, bathroom, and household appliances for a rent of 2,000 yuan and utility bills over 300 yuan. Despite being compact, it offers relatively good value for money and is popular among white-collar workers migrating to Beijing. In Guangzhou and Shenzhen, many workers live in the numerous urban villages that dot the cities. It must be noted that conditions in Shenzhen's urban villages are slightly better than those in metropolitan Shanghai, offering 1-bedroom apartments for 730 yuan per month. However, these urban village houses are often built very close to each other, sometimes only a few centimeters apart, leading to their nicknames handshake buildings or kissing buildings, because residents can nearly shake hands or kiss across their windows. One major problem here is that it's easy to get lost due to the long, identical alleyways. Despite these conditions, it's a decent option for many, but now with foreign capital withdrawing and numerous factory closures, many migrant workers unable to find jobs are forced to live in tunnels. In a subway pass in Guangdong, the unemployed crowd together, both men and women, in an area filled with unbearable odors. Although very basic, at least it offers shelter from the elements. Among them are college students and rural migrant workers who, unable to find suitable jobs, huddle together for warmth. Like the Shanghai gods at Longhua Station in Shenzhen, they earn their living by day labor and sleep on the street at night. Shanghai gods is a name given to a group of migrant workers who have given up on life and became China's new loafer class. They work one day and rest for a week. A day's pay can be 200 yuan, enough to sit in an internet cafe for a week. They eat steam buns, buy 3 or 4 to last the day. For better meals, they add some pickled vegetables, a Laogan Ma chili sauce, and that's the day's food sorted. How free is this life? The gods of Shanghai will never be slaves. If you have a bit of money, you can also stay in a small hostel for 15 yuan a night. At least you could take a hot shower. In many cities, there are many of these so-called Shanghai gods who have completely given up on life. Already seeing no hope, this kind of life is actually pretty good. Wherever you go, just find a place to lie down and don't think about anything. Because no matter how hard you try, without connections, it won't work. So why do these individuals prefer to live on the streets of big cities, rather than returning to their rural homes, where living costs are undoubtedly lower? According to one worker in Shanghai, big cities, despite high housing costs, offer lower prices for other consumer goods compared to rural areas, especially food. Rural areas now suffer from an influx of counterfeit goods, making city offerings both cheaper and of higher quality. Moreover, there are plenty of more day jobs in cities, at least making enough to survive. Big cities also offer more resources, such as more opportunities to collect recyclables or leftover food, and being away from family and friends spares them from potential ridicule. Importantly, some who couldn't find a partner in rural areas have reportedly found girlfriends after becoming a Shanghai god in the city. With so many advantages, it's no wonder every city has its share of these gods. However, with China's economic downturn, factory closures, and the saturation of gig economy jobs like food delivery and ride-sharing, life in the city is increasingly challenging for this so-called lower-end population. In 2024, China's college graduates are set to reach a record-breaking 11.8 million, an increase of 210,000 from 2023 and 1 million from 2022. With youth unemployment rates remaining high, college graduate employment has become an urgent issue for the Chinese Communist Party. Traditionally, unemployment rates tend to inversely correlate with economic growth, a relationship described by Okun's law, proposed by American economist Arthur Okun in 1962, which suggests that a 1% increase in output lowers the unemployment rate by 0.5% in the short term. Unlike in Western countries, unemployment rates from China's National Bureau of Statistics measures urban unemployment. Urban labor primarily comes from college graduates and the 300 million migrant workers, although the latter are not included in the urban unemployment surveys. Lacking real data, Okun's law is difficult to apply in China. According to China's own employment data, a 1-unit increase in GDP can theoretically create employment for about 2 million people. Thus, maintaining a GDP growth rate around 6% is just enough to absorb the approximately 12 million new college graduates entering the job market each year. Despite the CCP's announcement of a 5.2% GDP growth for 2023, many analysts believe the actual growth rate could be as low as 1.5%, with some even suggesting it might be negative. Even if the growth rate were 1.5%, it would only create about 3 million new jobs, leaving 3/4 of that year's college graduates unemployed. This explains why so many social media users report being unemployed or unable to find work. In an attempt to resolve the issue of college graduate employment, the CCP is guiding graduates to look towards smaller cities and encouraging them to find jobs in rural areas. However, the reality is that many young people prefer to struggle in big cities, delivering food or even choosing to lie flat and become a god rather than return to rural life. This stark reality is something the CCP must confront. College students, being among the most intellectually active societal groups, face immediate unemployment upon graduation, potentially creating significant pressure on social stability and the CCP's governance.